Hey guys, John T. Hickmet here. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about something that a lot of people struggle with when they start trying to heal their chronic pain, which is all about which modality they should choose to heal their pain. There is a lot of noise in the healing space right now. There are brain retraining programs, there are medications, there's therapy, there's acupuncture, there are somatic practices, meditation, breath work, diet changes, and honestly, a lot of these approaches seem to have people claiming that they're going to work for them. So if you're someone trying to heal your chronic symptoms, it can feel really overwhelming knowing what to choose. So you might be asking yourself, which one do I choose? Which one is right? What if I pick the wrong one? What if I waste my time? So the aim of this video is to simplify all of that noise. I want to leave you understanding how to choose a direction so that you can actually move forward instead of staying stuck trying to decide. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I personally teach something called an allowing approach through the mind-body framework. The basic idea of the allowing approach is this: many people develop chronic symptoms because they have learned to repress emotions and internal experiences over many years. So the path forward towards relief becomes about learning how to allow those emotions instead of repressing them. It may involve things like meditation, therapy, self-reflection, learning how to sit with emotional experiences instead of pushing them away. I have lots of videos on this channel explaining what that process looks like and what to expect when you start doing it. For example, symptoms sometimes intensify when people begin allowing emotions. Doubt often shows up. Parts of the mind start questioning everything. And those things are actually a normal part of the process. Now, the reason I promote this approach so much is simple. It's how I healed my own symptoms, and it's how I've helped lots of other people heal their symptoms. But I want to be really clear about something. The aim of this video today is not to say that my method is the only correct method, because the truth is, I know people have gotten better through lots of different routes. Some people improve through the brain retraining programs, some improve through medication, some through acupuncture, some through physiotherapy. Usually it's a combination of lots of things. So this video isn't about declaring one method is right and another is wrong. It's about helping you understand how to navigate through the options. I often say on this channel that multiple truths can coexist. We honestly don't understand our existence well enough to say with absolute certainty that one single method is correct for everyone all of the time. So what I want to do in this video is give you a simple framework that can help you decide how to approach healing when there are so many choices. So the big idea in the video is this. Before we get into the specific points, I want to give you the main idea. The answer is rarely that you must choose one method and reject all the others. Most people actually end up with a unique combination of approaches. For example, I've worked with people who practice the emotional allowing that I'm teaching them. They meditate regularly, but they still take medication for a period of time. I've worked with people who practice allowing, because they always do when they come to see me, but they also go to physiotherapy or acupuncture, or they go to the gym. None of those things automatically invalidate the process. Healing tends to be more flexible than people often realize. So the real question becomes, how do you choose a direction that works for you specifically? So let's break this down into three clear ideas that I've come up with to help you choose. So the first idea is to find teachers and communities that you really resonate with. When people think about healing methods, they usually focus on the technique itself. But what actually helps people move forward most of the time is the people inside the method, the teacher, the mentors, the community. Feeling safe and supported by those people in the community is incredibly powerful. When I first had stomach pain, over a decade ago, I went through all the doctors and gastros. Eventually, I found communities that were focusing solely on diet. There were nutritionists teaching about food. There were forums where people were sharing their experience. And that environment for me at the time felt very empowering. I believed in what we were doing in those communities. I felt connected to the people. And my symptoms improved. My stomach symptoms improved. Now, eventually that approach stopped working for me personally. But what really helped me at the time wasn't just the diet, it was the belief and the connection I felt in that community. I've seen people improve because they trusted a nurse in a doctor's office, not even the doctor, the nurse, because they felt listened to and supported by the nurse. So when you're choosing a method, look closely at the people involved. Do you resonate with the teacher? Do you feel safe with them? Do you feel understood by them? Sometimes the relationship matters even more than the technique itself. Also remember that your belief and consistency inside a method also matters a lot. When you believe in something and feel supported by the people around you, you're much more likely to stay committed when things become difficult. And healing processes always become difficult. The consistency is often where the real change happens when it becomes difficult, just sticking with the method. So, point number 2, test the teachers and the process in your community. Even if you resonate with someone, it's important to test the process. Healing will inevitably bring up difficult moments. For example, in the allowing approach that I teach, symptoms often intensify when people start allowing emotions because we've been conditioned to believe discomfort means something is wrong. People start worrying that the method is failing. They'll say things to me like, maybe I'm doing this wrong, maybe this method doesn't work for me, maybe my doubts are ruining everything. But those doubts and fears are actually parts of the psyche that need our attention. They're part of the process. So when you try a method, notice how the teachers respond when things get confusing or challenging. Can they help you understand what's happening psychologically? Can they guide you when the process becomes uncomfortable, which it definitely will? That's a really important sign of whether the environment is supportive and conducive to your healing. Methods can be really life-changing, but often the most powerful part of the method is the quality of the guidance that you receive inside the method itself. That's point number 2, test the teachers. Point number 3, allow your healing path to evolve. One thing people don't realize is that healing methods often work in stages. Something may help you for a period of time, then later it stops helping. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the method has failed. Sometimes the method was simply showing you something new about yourself. For example, back when I was obsessed with diet and exercise as well to fix my stomach and back pain, I used to say that those methods worked for me until they didn't. But looking back, I see something different now. They worked the entire time. At first, they helped me learn that I could care for my mind and body in empowering ways. I could change my diet and exercise, but later they exposed a controlling part of my personality that had become obsessive. So the method didn't fail. It revealed something I needed to see. And that realization eventually led me towards deeper emotional work. Sometimes methods guide us towards a new stage of development. And sometimes what feels like failure is actually the method exposing a psychological pattern that needs our attention. So those are the 3 points about how to choose methods. But here's an important reality check. Sometimes people move between methods because they generally need a different approach, but sometimes people move because a method has exposed a part of their psyche they don't want to face. For example, people will often get excited about a new program or method. They feel enthusiastic at the beginning, but then they lose momentum over time. They say that the method didn't work for them eventually. That pattern itself is something worth exploring because the methods may actually be revealing something important to you. They might be showing you a part that gets excited quickly and then also discouraged quickly, or a part that doubts everything, or a part that believes nothing will ever work for them. Those patterns that are being revealed in the methods are actually really important psychological information. And something else that is worth noticing is this. If you find yourself trying many different methods and repeatedly coming away with the same outcome, that also tells you something. Many people will feel enthusiastic about a method at first, then later down the line, they'll feel lost. This is extremely common, and it's not necessarily a problem. It's not a problem with the method. In fact, it's usually useful information because the method may have worked perfectly. It may have revealed something about the way that your mind is working and what needs to be turned towards. Maybe a part of you gets very hopeful quickly and then loses faith. Maybe a part of you struggles with consistency. Maybe a part of you becomes frustrated when progress isn't immediate. Those are psychological dynamics that can be worked with. It's not the method's fault. They're actually showing you what needs to be shown. This is actually one of the reasons I personally found so much value in the allowing approach that I teach, because it helps us work directly with those psychological patterns that all these different methods reveal. So instead of jumping endlessly from method to method, the focus becomes about learning how to relate to parts of yourself during the process. So let me simplify everything because I've said a lot of different things. So if we simplify everything in this video down to the essentials, try to focus on 3 things when choosing a method. Find teachers and communities that you resonate with. Test whether those teachers can support you when the process becomes challenging, and allow your healing path to evolve as you learn more about yourself. Healing is rarely about finding the perfect method. It's usually about finding a direction that feels supportive and staying with it long enough to learn what it's trying to teach you. Obviously, I have a personal bias. I do have a bias towards the allowing approach that I teach because it's how I healed my symptoms. It's how I've helped a lot of other people heal their symptoms as well. So if you're someone who has tried many different things and still feels stuck, I would absolutely encourage you to explore this approach. You can watch all the videos on my channel, but I would also say something important. Trying this through books and videos isn't always the same as being part of a community. So if you really want to test it, find a teacher or a group and experience it properly. I personally went through lots of teachers and lots of modalities before I found what worked for me, and I know time and money can make this process difficult, but at the end of the day, this is about your health and your enjoyment of life. So it's worth investing some effort to find the right support. Let's bring this all home to conclude. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of the different modalities and options out there, just remember this: you don't need to solve everything perfectly. Start by finding people that you trust, that you resonate with. Commit to a direction. Stay curious about what the process is revealing to you, and allow the path to evolve. Because sometimes what feels like a method failing is actually a method showing you something you weren't ready to see. Anyway, that's the video. If you have questions or thoughts about this topic, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope this video helped bring some clarity to the noise around healing chronic pain. It helped you understand which methods to choose and what to expect in those methods. Methods are often revealing some part of us psychologically that we need to turn towards, that we need to work on. Doesn't mean that they failed. It just means that maybe we need to evolve into another method. My allowing approach can really help you understand those parts of the psychology. Please feel free to ask questions below. Share your experience of working with different methods. If you'd like any more information about joining our community, you can find it in the caption below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hopefully hear from you soon.